Arman Tsarukyan with the first round TKO. This is something I did not expect. This man is a special talent. Giagos has only been TKO'd one time his entire career. That was against Josh Emmett back in 2016, and he got TKO'd in a third round of a fight where it was pretty back and forth. That third round specifically, before getting caught by the big right overhand, Giagos was actually picking Josh Emmett apart. Arman Tsarukyan did it in the first round. It's gonna be about time where Arman Tsarukyan eventually becomes that top 5 fighter in the lightweight division, and the guy's only 24 years old. He's not even close to his prime. He's like 3 to 5 years early of his prime right now, and he's competing at this level. The guy fought Islam Makhachev in his first fight in the UFC. His debut was against who many fighters and fans consider the best lightweight in the world. And not only fought the guy, he made it competitive. He gave Islam Makhachev more trouble than anybody's given Islam in the last, 3 years? 4 years? Not only that, look at the other fighters that he has beaten. He's gone through a crazy start in the UFC. He fought Davi Hamelsh, he fought Matt Frevola, he fought Olivier Aubin-Mercier, and now he goes and TKOs Christos Giagos in the first round, finally gets that finish that he needed in the UFC. But what we have to know about the fight here is, Arman Tsarukyan came out there with a measured approach. He had a probing left hand the entire time. He was searching with it, he was measuring with it, always kept that obstacle in front of Giagos so he couldn't really attack on the straight line, and he had to be worried about getting countered by the check left hook. Which is why you start to see Giagos enter in with a fake right, or even sometimes throwing it out there, and then weaving and fading out to his right side. He did this multiple times in the fight. It was his way of trying to get past that probing left hand that seemed to be causing him issues. And Tsarukyan was not only just holding it out there, he was feinting with it, he was going low, and whenever he went low with it, he created an opening over the top, which actually was a trap. In Giagos' point of view though, when Tsarukyan took a step in and feinted low, Giagos saw that there was an opening for his right hand to catch Tsarukyan. The first time this sequence happened, Tsarukyan backed away, took a note of Giagos' reaction yet again, and used it against him the very next time. So now that he knows that Giagos did the same thing twice, he knows that same reaction is constantly going to keep coming out. He shows that fake opening again, but this time executes the trap. Instead of backing away with a huge step, he took one small hop step backwards, knowing the measurement as to where Giagos leans in with the right overhand. He knows that Giagos weaves right after the right overhand, so because of that, he knows that the overhand is not going to have great leverage, it's not going to be great in power, it's just out there to tag Tsarukyan and exit away in a safe manner. He knows that Giagos is not going to wing punches out there looking for the big knockout. He's being a little bit more measuring and respecting Arman Tsarukyan. So Tsarukyan, in the meantime, he knows he's going to be able to block the punch with his left hand. Again, the reason why he knows that is because Giagos is not throwing a lot of leverage into that big right overhand. He's leaning in with it, taking off a bit of power so he can exit away safely. You don't need much to block that punch. When he probes low and the right overhand comes, moves back in the correct distance, he merely just blocks the punch with his left hand and swiftly tags Giagos with the right straight. And notice how Arman aims low with the right hand because he knows the head movement. He saw it twice already. He tried to intercept the fading with a jab, but if he went in for a left hook instead, this would have caught in Giagos 100%. Just a minor miscalculation on the form of the punch he had to throw with his left. This was some great stuff by Arman Tsarukyan. Now where things got a bit dicey for Arman was when he shot in for the double leg takedown. So what happened here was Giagos was the one that came in there with a feint. He took a big half step forward and faked the right hand. Tsarukyan took the bait, back stepped away, and threatened Giagos with his probing left hand. Well, he did notice that Giagos here though loaded up on his hips, and now he's forced to retract to get out of a dangerous position. The fact that Giagos feinted so heavily, he came in so far in with a half step, by overly faking that right hand, Arman went on the attack as soon as Giagos was retracting. He pumped a jab out there to get into Giagos' face. Giagos went to go parry it and try to counter Arman with his right overhand. At the same time, Arman is trying to shoot down a right straight, hoping that Giagos is going to sit on the center line, but they both miss. Now where things go south for Arman is he completely miscalculated the distance for his double leg takedown. Giagos did not move anywhere, and he got completely underneath Giagos with a double leg. He should have switched this into a single or something else. If he switched up the takedown here and got away from the double leg, he would have relieved himself of pressure. There is too much resistance and too much force against him to be able to successfully execute the takedown. So much resistance and force against him that Giagos literally just falls on top of him. He just flops on top of Tsarukyan, who is only really balancing on one leg and a knee, and causes him to fall backwards. But for the most part on the ground, Arman was able to control the positions with mere overhooks and butterfly hooks. That was pretty much it, and then wall walked. It just showed the strength that he had to be able to wall walk under Giagos, who looks bigger than he is, so effortlessly. And off the disengagement in the clinch, where really nothing happened, Giagos tried to land a big left elbow that catches Tsarukyan behind the head, but at the same time Tsarukyan took the shot well And notice how he's tugging in Giagos' right hand. He's never losing focus of his mission. He's always on the task at hand, no matter what is coming his way. Getting hit behind the head, getting off balance because of the blow, it does not deter him of tugging in that right hand so he can aim over the opening that he's creating for himself with that left casting hook, or as some people want to call it, a Russian hook over the shoulder. Notice how he turns the shoulder completely when he's throwing this hook. It's a different kind of punch the way Igor Vovchanchin used to throw in Fedor Emelianenko, Khabib Nurmagomedov. It could deliver with a lot of power, but there's a lot of speed in the snap. These kind of punches act more like whips. These kind of casting left hooks can get around the guard very well. Notice how far back behind the head he's able to get on Giagos. And ultimately, this is the same punch that he's going to use to knock Giagos down with. It just shows you how much power there is in that kind of punch. But before that, Arman was able to be successful with another strike after throwing out a feint. He comes in and fakes a right straight, where Giagos takes the bait, tries to parry that right straight the way boxers always do, both orthodox left-hand parries, and he tries to counter Tsarukyan with a right straight of his own, but at the same time where he's exposing his right body by throwing the right straight, because remember, when you throw the right straight, you're also rotating your hips. The rotating of hips causes you to open up that right side of your body. Tsarukyan counters him with a left body kick on that side. Beautiful work by Arman Tsarukyan, and causes Giagos to back away. And then the finishing sequence happens, where Giagos throws in a naked front body kick, and you cannot do that to Arman Tsarukyan. And I'm glad to see that Arman is not someone who's going to fall into naked punches and kicks. You need to set them up against this guy. He's way too good. He quickly reacts to go and grab onto the heel. It slips out from under him, but it does cause enough of an unbalance for him to land a huge casting left hook over the shoulder. This one crumbles Christos Giagos, who clearly looked like he tried to fight the imbalance. He tried to stay balanced as long as possible, man, but the power was way too much. And then Herb Dean, being Herb Dean, allows the punishment to continue. If he ain't senseless, there's no point to end this. Until Giagos was pretty much out of it. Did not need to go that long. It was a bad stoppage, way too late, but seems to be kind of the thing with Herb Dean these days. And it was a great performance by Arman Tsarukyan, man. I was so glad to see this kind of performance from him, because I was thinking that the fight was probably going to go to a decision, more for the fact that he has been a lot more safe in his approach when it comes to his wrestling. And if he was going to finish, I did not think it was going to be by a first round knockout due to his hands. I thought, if anything, it was going to be a submission on the ground. Giagos is not someone who's known for his submission defense, not really great in that area, and Tsarukyan is extremely well-rounded. The fact he was able to roll with Islam so well led me to believe that maybe he could catch a submission win in the second or third rounds, but a first round TKO, that surprised me, man. And I'm so high in this guy. As you guys all know, I did put him as a top 7 fighter, I believe, or top 5 fighter, or top 3, I forgot what it was. Somewhere in the top 7 in the near future. I could see him in the future contesting for a title, and it just seems like it's inevitable that he's going to cross paths with Islam Makhachev again. They fought each other when they were lower on the rankings. I think Islam was ranked, but Tsarukyan was not. Watch when they go and fight at the top of the rankings. It's just so poetic. And as for his next opponent, he did call out Dan Hooker, but Hooker's having some issues of finding a fight due to the whole issue going on in his area. I don't know if that fight is going to take place. I don't know if it's possible, but he definitely deserves a top 15 fighter at least. Diego Ferreira would be a good fight for him, who's number 11. Gregor Gillespie would be a good fight. The best possible fight for him would be a Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson is ranked number 6, but he's on his decline in the division. He's in the state where Joseph Benavidez was not too long ago, where he was a top-ranked guy because of his status and how long he's been in it, but as soon as they get older and take a bunch of brain damage, they're only on their way down, and that's the best opportunity, that's the peak moment for younger fighters to target that older lion and take them out. If Tsarukyan wants to get to the top 5 as fast as possible, Tony Ferguson would be the fight that's at least possible for him to take. I would have to think, though, the UFC does not want to rush him too fast. I mean, they just had him fight another non-ranked fighter, even though they know how good he is. The organization has to know how good Arman really is, but they're giving him that slow growth treatment. He's only 24 years old. There's so much more growth for him to do. His competition has actually been pretty stellar so far. Islam Makhachev, Matt Frevola, Olivia Aubin-Mercier, Davi Hamosh, and now Christos Giagos. This is not an easy list that he has gotten through. And it just shows at 24 years old what level he is firing on. So for me, if I were to pick, I would love to see him fight Diego Ferreira. That fight seems to be perfect in my opinion. A very good grappler, a bigger guy who has power in his hands. That seems to be a very interesting fight for Arman Tsarukyan. That's the one I would be aiming for right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you enjoyed my content, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.